We will convene the Circleville City Council Committee of the Whole. Today is Tuesday, April 16th, 2019. Roll call, please. Abby.
Strasser?
Here.
Spring?
Here.
Hedges?
Here.
Tice?
Here.
Brady?
Here.
Keller?
Here.
Lehman? Here.
Thank you. We have one set of minutes to approve, the April 2nd meeting of the Committee of the Whole. Minutes were sent out several days ago, and then there were some clarifications made, and the revision was sent out yesterday, I believe. Mr. Brady?
Make a motion to accept it.
Motion by Councilperson Brady to accept the minutes, second by Councilperson Blanton. All in favor?
Aye.
Wow, report. We have on our agenda tonight, we initially had it off the agenda, but then I saw it was back on the agenda. I think we mentioned at the last meeting discussion about Everts, and then the Circleville Herald, and maybe some side posted a story or two about the discussion of the Mill Street Gym and the industrial arts, and we had several people come forward with interest after those articles, and we appreciate that. So it is on the agenda this evening. It's not going to be the only discussion we have. We're waiting to hear back from the PALS group. They couldn't make it this evening, but we do have some other interested parties here. Maybe they have questions about the properties. So we'll do that first. I think we'll do the Everts discussion first. Then we'll talk about the potential closing of some railroad crossings to vehicular traffic in the city, a continuation of a discussion from about 2 months ago. Then with the time remaining, we will go into executive session in regards to the sale, lease, or transfer of public property. So if we don't have time prior to the 7 o'clock council meeting, maybe we can do that after the council meeting. So let's first have a discussion on the Everts building. At the last meeting, to bring you up to date, we had discussion about transitioning the building through a sale, potentially, and we also had discussion about maintaining the building with the support of some grants. And we do have some people who might be interested in talking more about it. I think the mayor's had some discussion. Mayor McElroy, do you want to lead it off?
I do. I see Spiro Banditas has come in. I have a meeting with him tomorrow. I don't know if he wants to speak tonight, but if he does, that's fine. But he has scheduled a meeting with me tomorrow morning. We also heard from a gentleman by the name of Bob Hellwagon. Bob is with drug and alcohol and mental health. He's got some thoughts that maybe they could use the building. And this most recently, as of this afternoon, we received something from Phoenix Integrated Services. These also have some healthcare possibilities with it. So those are the three that are not here. Spiro just walked in, but those three I'm learning a little bit more. As I learn about them, I will pass it on to you. I have had some conversation with Gary Fetter, and he is with the Pickaway Diablos, and Patrick Jerry will be here to talk about that. And then we had a great meeting with Crossroads Church yesterday morning, or was it Monday morning?
Which is yesterday.
Well, that was yesterday. It all comes together, guys. And they're here to talk on that. So,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
And thank you for taking the lead on talking to those folks. And as you might know, the city has the potential benefit of having grants to do some of the maintenance on those buildings. However, if the city does do that, the city must maintain ownership for a set number of years. And that's where some of the concern lies, is that the city may not be able to support that building with the current financial picture that we have. So that said, who would like to talk about Everts first? Mr. Chair? If you can, give your full name, your address, and your affiliation, There's no limit on time, but you could try to summarize what your purpose would be if you acquired the building, and under what terms you'd like to acquire the building.
John Biley. I'm the owner of Biley Corp. And I'm here from the real estate side, along with Dan Coy, who's the head pastor at Crossroads. So this is actually a dual approach to this property. I actually had the opportunity to tour the site last week. Spent about an hour there, taking a look at it. Followed up, that was on Friday, during all that rain. So we got to really get a good idea of where the leaks are, what's going on with it.
Both buildings or just the gym?
Both buildings.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are interested in the entire facility.
Okay.
When we went through it, Don Sherman was there with us. Immediately shot the mayor an email asking, could we get together? We met with them Monday at 8 a.m. So, you know, why do I want to do this? Why does my company want to do it? One of the primary reasons, there's two. One of them, I do have an 11-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter. There is such a gleam in their eye for wanting things to be redone, things to get involved in within this community. Second item is, you know, I want to do this for the community. Some of our background, I know there's been questions on the financial side. Since I started real estate back in 2006, we've redeveloped non-useful buildings within this downtown, 15 of them. Invested $1.5 million into those buildings. And I'm very happy to say that they are thriving right now. I want to take those same exact principles and redevelop Everts Middle School, gymnasium, and the industrial arts wing. From a financial side, getting that question out there, we have $15 million in assets as a company with minimal debt. You know, my company has over 215 years worth of real estate experience. This comes from facility maintenance, from the grounds crew, snow removal, construction. We have relationships with HVAC specialists, electricians, plumbing. We actually have scheduled for tomorrow a company coming down that we've used for roof replacement, and we are going to begin evaluating the roofs. The reason I want to be doing that, I am very keen on reserve studies that will project out what we're looking at over the next 5 years, 10 years, 18 months, and I want to take a very common sense approach to this property to bring it back in. There is some key components, you know, within my company. I have a senior project manager that is on staff. She has dealt with tens of millions of dollars in individual projects. So being able to incorporate a project manager over top of this project with what we do on the real estate side of bringing properties back into useful usage is one of our key attributes. The reserve study, Katie, I know that was one of your questions. I can tell, we have 1,100 properties overall, rentable units. I can tell you exactly how much and when every major capital expenditure on every one of those units will incur. That is how I want to build and be able to not only get it up to speed where it needs, but I also want to be able to maintain it for years to come. Born in this community, I plan to be here the rest of my life, God willing, however long that is. But you know, I'm not a speculator. So part of this conversation is, you know, I can renovate and bring a property 100% shiny and ready to rock and roll. But you've got to have a product. You've got to have the right people in place. This is a community building. That is where Dan Coy, head pastor out of Crossroads, comes in. He's able to provide that product. He's able to provide the needs for the community. You know, one of the key things is we want to be able to equip kids with different skills throughout this community. Be able to provide athletic facilities. I mean, I have a lot of memories at that gym And I think it's still one of the best ones in Pickaway County. There's no place for our youth on the baseball side to do off-season training. Right now, we're developing, starting with an 11U group, a travel program. We're up competing in Pataskala, Johnstown, Pickerington, up at Ohio Dominican, a group of Logan Elmers in Circleville, 11U, developing a program. This ties into that. A lot of those kids do not have a place to practice basketball. So I'm going to hand it over to Dan. He's going to show you his vision, being able to fulfill that product for his community.
Thank you, John. My name is Dan Coy, Senior Pastor at Crossroads Church in Circleville. And good evening to everyone, Council, President Crawford, Mayor, and Auditor. We've got the full lineup. It's so nice to be with all of you and fellow citizens. We're happy to be in front of this group tonight. And vision is what makes a simple plan great to any degree. And my lifelong pursuits, since I was a kid myself, have been driven by vision and people that invested in me at very young levels. And so when I've been in many discussions and was here not long ago talking about our parks and different things like that, I'm all about development and leadership, especially with young as they progress, and all of them are part of some kind of a family or attached to something that's trying to be a family, and then all the way up through the senior years of legacy. And I think legacy is what we're about in this project. It's not just, well, let's see if it'll work or other things. We've given our lives to development and to people development. As you just heard from John, he's developing buildings and the teams to do those things and whatever. But when I see a building, I walk through and I think, how many kids, how many families, how many other cities can we impact with our vision that includes a myriad of things? And so as I heard the former report, excellent work, wow. Some great opportunities there. And so we also would like to say partnerships, relationships are what everything is about. I don't think any of us can get our full potential reached without those great commodities of relationships. So what we would do immediately, we would lead, as you might guess, as a faith-based organization. And I have a personal faith in Jesus Christ that's changed my life. I gave him my life at 6 years old. And my grandkids are here in Pickaway County now being raised, and they are going to be taught on those biblical principles which give a Christian worldview. Whatever people's opinions are, pro or con, that's what we would lead with based on the authority of principle versus preferences. If we lead an organization or a society on preference, I think that could go just about anywhere it wants to in a second of time. But what we would include in that is we would lead at Crossroads. Right now we have Crossroads Christian Academy, which has outgrown our facility, and we're in expansion mode. Our director is here tonight, Chief, or Wayne Gray, and they're doing a great job there. But I've been looking and actually honestly praying about what are the options for us with all the things in front of us. And so we have to have expansion space, and we would. The reason we want the entire 122,000 square feet, I believe was the final number we saw, including all the football field and everything else that would go with it for possible expansion of parking, is that we hope to have a state-of-the-art continuance, a state-of-the-art academy that's available to our community that accommodates as we are now. We work interspaced as a charter with Logan Elm right now. We have to figure all those particulars out as we transition possibly into a community or otherwise. But we want that to be accessible, and we feel that being in the center of town with everything going on, that we can have a lot of influence with kids that could possibly walk there. As we were waiting to have Don let us in and check it out with our flashlights in the dark, a ton of kids were running up to us and saying, hey, can we get in this building? And I was like, not today. But as I stood there, I listened to some of their dreams, and I asked them questions, and as you might expect, a papal to do, but a person who's listening to children a lot, and they had some dreams, and I told them, man, we're hoping for the best, and we don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be great, we believe. They want a place to go that's close to them. As great as our 72 acres is out on Tarleton Avenue, we're filling the whole thing up with great commodities. My honest opinion is, when I talk to our leaders, I said, anytime anybody in Circleville or Pickaway County says, what do you want to do tonight? I want to be in the top 3, whatever we're doing, for great influence on families. So CCA, Crossroads Christian Academy, would certainly have a new campus. And we would develop it based on many different things of a school day, obviously under the state statutes and all the excellence that we're building on now. School of Fine Arts would come into play, not only to serve that campus, but also to extend after school hours into our community to provide music lessons for kids who want to play music. And we have a recording studio. I've developed a state-of-the-art Nashville quality studio that we are also working with kids and songwriters clubs and writers and all these things. And I believe Seth Mosley came out of this community. I've heard different stories. He's in Nashville right now, product of Circleville. One of the top songwriters in Christian music today came right from this place. We want to continue to find Seth and people like him to develop in the arts. Now, the arts is not just music-based. There are many kinds of things. We've got amazing artists right now that I can give them projects, and they're amazing, and they're like 8th graders or even younger. So we would be fully invested in many parts of the arts community, and we welcome partnerships aligned with great truth and principle, so we can invest in that community. Also, the sports teams that we would not only align for our school would also bring advantage to our community through clinics, through sports camps, through things that we would also open up beyond our horizons as after-school programs as well, because we want to be able to have influence and impact into young lives that need something to do and a place to go. We would not be in competition with the YMCA or anything like that, because our programs would be very somewhat different in their approach, but inclusive of anybody that wants to share and be a part. So those sports teams, then not to say anything less, I guarantee you, if we could hear that gym floor speak, and the bleachers, and we heard stories from Don about astronauts coming to speak to kids. That building can be great again for many different reasons, but for speaking engagements, they tell me somewhat of 2,400 seat auditorium can acquiesce into that area, and we can put a stage in there. A lot of great community events that can benefit many, but also the tournaments that we would have there related to our kids and their sports. Many different things. Education obviously is a strong point of foundation. So we would also, not only to our children, our students, offer tutoring, leadership training, and all kinds of skill-based programs. So for instance, I work with skateboarding a lot, and we're trying to add value to this community to some degree with that. This may be included in this project, or it may be included in the parks that leads to this. But one of the aspects we would bring in, as an example, is our skateboard factory. Okay, we would bring all the wood, all the presses, everything else to it, and begin as an entrepreneurial effort to bring value to kids who are skating, but then would like to learn how to build a board and then market it and sell it to bring it back and invest in their own program. So those are examples of, you can take that almost every avenue, all the way back to shooting and understanding gun safety and partnerships that align with after-school programs and weekend assessments. In the education, small engine repair, all kinds of things. I understand that bikes are housed there that get confiscated for all kinds of reasons and then refurbished and put back in. We could be a part and asset to those programs, skill-based trainings. Long story short, speaking to great entrepreneurs and the young, they need to be able to be a part of the solution for their life. Not just dependent saying, what can I get out of this, or what are you going to give me, but what can I give back? And in leadership training, I have a leadership school that was hosted in this community for many years. We still bring it here, one of the 4 cities in the month of July. It's called Life Tracks School of Leadership. It's still hosted here the 2nd week of July. They would have great impact. We would be able to recruit kids out of these relationships to go into those kinds of schools as well. And so a lot of different things that can make us great in our community. Briefly, in conclusion, when I first came here, I started coming about a dozen years ago with that leadership school. It was hosted at Ohio Christian. many different kinds of avenues. But I heard many things like, we used to have a swimming pool. Boy, was it fun. Boy, we used to have a movie theater. Yeah, I missed that. We used to have a bowling alley at Markdown. And these were all storylines that I gathered over my time just hanging out with people. And they were all factual and literal. And then I began to think about, so how about now? What do I need to be doing so that the language can change in the street? So, hey, did you hear about the new thing we have going on that lets kids, and whatever that would be filled in? When I was a little kid, I went in one day after school. My favorite program was Gilligan's Island. I had a black and white 13-inch, okay? Yeah. And I watched Gilligan's Island. It was a highlight of my day after school, man. I just needed somewhere to get away and relax, you know? Eat ice cubes. That was my favorite thing. Get a bunch of ice cubes. I'd eat ice cubes and watch Gilligan's Island. One day I went in and plugged it in because the switch was broke on our set. We could afford more. My dad worked for General Motors, but it wasn't that important. And I plugged it in, and the whole TV set blew up right in front of my face. I was like, oh, my world was shattered. No more Gilligan's Island. And my dad said, to add to that pain, he said, actually, Dan, we're not going to invest in another TV set. We're going to do some other things. Oh, man, I was shocked. What a contrast. We began to go to the library, get all kinds of things done, you know, in the garden and on the farm and everything else that we should have been doing, and we were sort of doing anyway. But the reason I bring that up, we started renting films, you know, the old 8mm, you know, all that. And he would bring those home and show us, and I began to learn about Harriet Tubman, the Underground Railroad. I began to listen. One show caught my mind, and it was Disney's production of Shot Heard Around the World by Johnny Tremaine. I became Johnny Tremaine in a moment. Wasn't much on TV anymore, but he would control the source of things, much like we would do with Netflix and any of these others. And I caught this kid's vision because he got to go to an attic with some very important people that were writing a document. And he heard the discussions as he delivered tea to them and snacks in the evenings in this silversmith shop that they used the attic for. In the end, he heard people like Benjamin Franklin and all the writers that were there, Thomas Jefferson, all the different people that had some pretty important things they were discussing. He was captured by it, joined them, and made a difference in his work. I thought, man, what if I could be in a room like that? What if one day I could sit with guys or ladies like that? And you know what? For decades now, I'll be 53 this year. For decades, I sit in rooms and stand in rooms like this, all across the country, everywhere, where projects and opportunities are, and I hear this whisper in my voice, this is it. This is it. And you know what that's referring to? That little image that I caught, having lost my television, started going to the library more, and that opportunity of rising to an occasion to be great echoes in my ears even tonight. Because there's a lot of great opportunities here, a lot of great people, a lot of great partnerships in every which way, make and model. And I think I hear the little whisper, this is it. So I don't know what you guys want to do with it. We're here to partner however we can to bring both sides of the equation, to not only buy the building in its completion, bring it up to code, get it where it needs to be, but also fill it up and maintain it over time with great programs that help your children and grandkids and all the other kids that may not even have a family per se. So thank you for your time tonight, and I'm open for any questions.
Thank you, Pastor Dwight. Does council have any questions or comments for Pastor Dwight and Byron?
So you said you've outgrown your educational facility out at Crossroads?
Correct.
So you're thinking about having your school over here?
That's correct. That would be a piece of that program.
What grades?
Well, we start with kindergarten in that particular set. We have a preschool, obviously. The Creation Station's been for 23 years now, and Debbie C., who founded it, is still running that. That would stay in place there. We would bring our kindergarten through 12th grade into that setup. Our 9 through 12 is all online, and we're continuing to develop all of that greatness, but K through 8 is regular traditional school classroom teachers, and our director here, Wayne Gray, who's chief of police for 16 years, he knows a few people in town as well. He's over that.
I always have questions. I mean, I'll say it again, and it got me in trouble with the side of post when I said it last time, but I mean, I think that you guys are a refreshing group of people. You are like super captivating. Every time I talk to you, you get me from the beginning. So I appreciate you coming. I totally get everything you're doing. My question, I guess, is more for John, in terms of what is the revenue stream?
Well, we would be doing it as a nonprofit, so my company would not be making a single dime on it.
Okay.
That's not the goal of this. The goal of this is to use the skills that I've developed over the years that God's blessed me with on the real estate side, complemented with Dan's vision, and get this thing back into being useful to the community.
So your whole
100%
purpose is
that's
the
it.
nonprofit?
That's right, 100%.
And as the owners of the property,
What's that?
you look to be owners of the property?
Yes.
Because I think that's the best case scenario for the city. We
Yeah.
want you to be the owner.
Yes, sir.
Now, I know, Pastor Coy, you haven't been around Circleville that long, but we went out for RFPs maybe 4 years ago. And at that time, only one party was interested. What appeals to you now that wasn't here 4 years ago?
Step to here, Dan.
Either.
You want to start?
Yeah, I can start. And I've been here, living full-time in July will be 3 years. So, but familiar with the area 12 years, because I would come in and live here for the month of July every season with Life Tracks. And so I didn't know about this, literally. I did not know about this until I was in a conversation with one of our council people. And I said, really? I said, I'm a pretty aware person. I mean, I'm in the street a lot, and I'm in conversations a lot, and somehow I didn't know that this building was even existent, certainly as the gym package, but I had driven past it, on my way. I have a granddaughter that loves the Playland at McDonald's. I've been down past it like my whole life while I lived here. But I didn't know it was even an option. Hadn't even heard about it somehow. And there have been many other things. So that's why I followed up immediately when I heard that it was available. I said, well, can we see it? I mean, I'd love to walk through this building, and that was under a week ago. So,
My view on it requires the product to be in there. I mean, like I said, I can build anything, I can make it look wonderful, but if you don't have a product that's going to be part of the community, it wasn't a viable project. And the right pieces, I believe, are starting to come together to put this into production for the community.
David? And John, a lot of people have had dreams, well, both of you, but a lot of people have had dreams about the building, but no one can financially back the dream. And the city's not in a financial shape to back the building as well. There are some grant opportunities, but there's some strings attached, some ownership requirements of the city. It's our best case scenario to sell the building to a new owner, let them develop how they wish, with their own plans and visions. And so yeah, that's we've heard a lot of dreams, but to have a dream and then a financial backing as a realtor or a developer of real estate, I should say, those two haven't come together yet till today.
And we're doing our due diligence, like I said last week when I was there. Get your boots on the ground and start checking out this stuff and really being able to develop that 100% plan. Yep.
Patrick, I saw you looking, Pastor, I saw you looking back at Patrick several times.
yes.
Would you think you'd be able to consider letting organizations like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And again, the reason I started like I did, we're going to be a faith-based, principle-based organization. So there'll be kind of a grid factor to make sure partnerships will be solid. So it wouldn't be just open-ended, like anybody could come there and do their thing. But as long as it was principally based, I listened to all of that expertise, and I was like, that would be a great piece of the program. My kid is in the military right now, Fort Hood, and he's been trained to shoot, but we didn't have anything like that available. And he's a great marksman. We took a lot of time, but to have partnerships like this, that's why I was just smiling and talking to John. I was like, wow, that would be amazing.
David, I think for these folks or anybody else with potential interest in building, new interest, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just listed tonight. I think whether it's reopen the RFP, have the mayor work with a particular interest group or nonprofit, just so they understand what what things we know, like the estimated cost of repair. We've got a report, what we paid for, what the historical designation means to the building, and how much, 4 more years at least. The grants, if that's going to be pursued, what the requirements are around the grants. If we're not going to do grants and just sell out to a new owner, that they may be able to get the grants. But I think all those details need to be made available to all the interested parties, so everybody understands what they're asking for, or what they're wanting to purchase, or what they're wanting to make an agreement with, so that you understand what the details are from the city side. Don?
We have made all of this available to the Biley Group and Pastor Dan, so they are aware of that. As these youth growth groups approach us, we will do the same thing with them.
Absolutely.
John, are you interested, I'm sorry, are you interested in the building as it sits? I mean, I know you
As
have.
it what?
As it sits, I mean, I know you're gonna do your feasibility study, but with what you've
You know what I
seen-
saw last week? You know, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of properties, evaluated them. My initial sniff test is 100% there's interest here. So yes.
Mr. Spring?
Yeah, the city has received and pledged $670,000 plus pretty strong assurance of a good probability of getting another $250,000 in grants for these buildings. The city auditor's not here tonight, but in the past he's been pretty strident about the importance of leasing. If we were to do a public-private partnership, and I certainly would like to get her input too. Maybe that's part of that communication package to see what's viable and what makes the most sense from if a partnership can be developed and how to maximize everybody's resources in a way that is a win-win for everybody. So I just pass that along as information.
I think there's more conversations to have, 100% on this. And, you know, you got 2 really motivated people right here. And I think we can come up with some great things. Yes?
I think another conversation that you might want to have would be with the school system, Circle the Schools, because they own the Corwin Street lot. And, you know, to me, that'd be a great place to put a skate park. But again, that's their property, that's not ours. But, you know, in talking with people, that's another group perhaps to approach.
I mentioned that to this group yesterday.
Okay.
Is that $670,000 of potential grant funding and budget important to your project?
I think every dollar is important to it.
But
Yeah.
do you need that for you to be interested in this project?
I'm doing my due diligence right now. I can't 100% answer that. I mean, if we get in there and, you know, I saw little bits of asbestos. I haven't been on the roof. So, I mean, there's a sizable $500,000 to $600,000 initial investment to just get it where you can open the doors. So, I mean, I'd be foolish as a business person to walk away from that potential money. So, yes, I mean, I'd be interested in all conversations at this point.
You want one?
Mike Wampler on the other half of Bonnie Court. And I was just listening to all the presentations, and let me say that if we wish to purchase a building outright, then obviously there would be a revenue stream for the investment. That's not why we are here. We're here because it is a community thing. We have a good partnership with the pastor. John and I talked about that. This is our idea when it comes to the financial side, and I'm the CFO of our company, is that we, for the first time, we want to create a nonprofit. We're not interested in any profit. This is totally 100% committed to the community. So in order for us to do that, we have to pursue the grants that are available without any burden. Now, we understand through the commissioners that there was some things, we've been in contact with them. And I will tell you that there is a lot of interest in what we have presented so far. So for us to partner up and be 100% community oriented, there was another thing that needed to happen that Brother Dan touched lightly on. Now, the arts around, I believe, did that come up in the conversation? We have found that maybe perhaps as this gentleman, as arts around, some of the other organizations that would like to have a place to go, would not be able to afford to upkeep the building and do everything that's needed to do that. So the pastor is willing to talk to anyone in our community like that, so we can make room so everybody can enjoy. And so we really like that idea. We got on board from that side of it. We're not interested in making $1 off of it. But if the city wants to partner with us as a real estate company so we can get the building, it can be housed, then naturally, we definitely want to do that. And I think that it's a win-win either way that you look at it. So this is totally separated from all of our investments that we've made here, and I have since 1983. So we need something, and I think it's a great opportunity. I think we got a great partner. We agree that the pastor would be the one that would go to. I'm not sure, Mr. Springs, that we would be interested in partnering with the city only because of maybe the different, disagreements that could happen. So if the city wants to step away from it and we take full control under those conditions, then I really think that it's a win-win in that respect. And we have talked to the mayor about the grants, and we're not sure on the language. So, we're early, but yeah, we would like to have all of the help we can get. I think the pastor said that they could implement even fundraisings for there's going to be a parking lot put in. And I think that's what we looked at with that addition on Corwin. I think you mentioned it, Julie. So, we've got a real good plan. We realize we can't get everything here tonight, but we'll be glad to answer any of your questions through email or through another meeting or whatever. We just really want to focus this 100%, David, on the community.
And thank you. Your comments are very clarifying. You're telling us that you are open to working with other groups that have expressed an interest in this, and you prefer to accept the grants to make this happen. But we've been told and led to believe that if you're the recipient of the grants, the city has to own that property for a set number of years. So
all of that can be taken care of in language. We can show you that the city in that setting, that we can guarantee that whatever that year's is, that the city would have to own that for 4 years. Our company can guarantee that we will have it owned past that regardless of what happens. Okay, I mean, we want zero liability to the city. We understand that that's one of the objectives, because it's a big task, but we feel, most of I'm kind of fading back a little bit. John's our CEO, but when it comes to finances, I'm a very conservative person, because I never felt like that I wanted to make investments that I didn't feel, that were at least, 60% in my favor. But in this situation, with our standing, and we are coming with that notion that we can take care of what.
Okay, my name's Patrick Cherry, and I live on Old Bell Station Road. I've lived there since 1970, and with the group Pickaway Diablos, which is a youth group we formed to shoot competitive air rifle. We shoot single shot. We'll see how fast we can miss stuff. It's an Olympic sport. It's a collegiate sport. We're a 501c3 program, and been in business about 6 years, and we have many accomplishments, which I'll get to later. But right off, our group is a fairly unique group here to take care of this building and to finance it. However, I didn't get into detail on that because I didn't know what your needs were. I didn't know what's been approved, not approved, what needs code. Once we had that information, then I can make an intelligent monetary assessment of how we do this. But we have on board maintenance director of a large community college, and his assistant involved in our program. We have a retired maintenance manager from the City of Columbus wastewater system plant, and with a lifelong hobby of shooting. Coach at Ohio State for 23 years, and has been worked internationally, Russia, Germany, Finland, India, Thailand, worked at the Olympic Training Center, Camp Perry, Whittington Center, New Mexico, NRA headquarters, Fairfax, Virginia. Been around the sport for a long time, plus 35 years experience in building and maintaining plants. They went through about a little over $500 million in sewage projects. Get some building experience. We have a concrete specialist, supplies large concrete pours and does all the supplied pumping equipment as well as the robot trialing equipment. We also have a fire chief, a battalion fire chief on board. We've got two parents involved in major fundraising companies that tell us a few $100,000 in nonprofit. So we feel we can fund it. We're also can get grants through the NRA, Midway, several other organizations, shooting organizations that once we'd have to own the building to do that, but once that's done, then range grants are available. Yeah, we have an AEP engineer, also a certified rifle coach, an AEP plant maintenance person, and got two children involved. Got a security specialist with a worldwide business in tracking vehicles. We have quite a bit of expertise on board. We feel we can raise money, know what needs done. We do a good job of maintaining. We've been around about 6 years, and we started with Everts, and then we moved to Knights of Columbus. That building's for sale, so we're definitely looking for something.
Mr. Cherry, just so I'm clear, are you interested in the gym building or the former industrial arts building?
Just the industrial arts building.
Okay.
Anything to do with the gym, we would be more than happy to work with anyone in any combination that would work out. You know, we're flexible on that, but the industrial arts building meets our needs the best.
Okay.
I don't think I need to go into all this. I wrote it out. You can read it, have my card if there's any questions. But we also work some with the Wounded Warrior program, and we have worked with wheelchair people. One time I ran for several years, about a 10-year period, I ran the state wheelchair shooting program. So we got experience in that. Right now we have a lady from Ohio, not with our club, and we work with her. That's on the National Paralympic team, and this winter she's traveled the world pretty much. She shot in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Singapore, been all over. So we're open to that type shooting and would be available if it was on a lower level, when it's wheelchair accessible.
Are you okay with taking any questions, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, any,
Captain, Mrs. Hedges?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for coming. It sounds like you guys have a great organization and obviously a lot of people that are really qualified. I just have a couple questions. I'm assuming that everybody that is part of your organization is a volunteer?
yes,
Okay. What about the noise associated with it?
it's air gun, there's almost no noise.
So there is no noise associated
Well,
with it?
there's very little. It's a very low decibel rate, you don't even need earphones.
Okay, and then my last question is, I know you had mentioned it here, and I read it when I skimmed it a little bit, that you have a lot of grant opportunities.
Yes.
Do those opportunities exist to get the building in a condition for you to use as well as maintain it, or just to get it into a condition for you to use it?
It'd be into a condition to use.
Okay,
We could.
so how do you think, what are your plans to maintain it once it's in a condition to use it?
Okay, our plans to maintain it is we have a small fee we charge for just operating fee and covers the rent now. But we could do other things in there. I outlined a few things. We could hold classes in there, both like home safety classes. I'd rather not get into concealed carry classes and that kind of stuff, but we have home safety classes are good, that type of thing. I'm involved a lot with Contemporary Long Rifle Association and the National Muzzleloading Rifle Association. So through them, we can hold a lot of classes on the artwork and stuff.
Okay, so it'd be a fee-based situation to maintain.
Yeah, it'd be a fee-based thing that we could
All right, thank you.
do from time to time. Anyone else? I think I don't want to take up all your time reading this to you in detail, and I'm sure you can all read. And if you have any questions at any time, please let me know.
Well, thank you. We had you reported as an interested party. Thank you.
President Crawford,
Yes.
if I may, I'd like to say something on this group's behalf. I've had the honor of sitting on Steve Stiver's Academy Review Board for the last 7 years. This year we had a young man come from Logan Elm that is actually looking to go to the Air Force Academy to do just this shoot. He's just waiting to see if he will get the appointment. He was one of the ones chosen, but now we just wait to see if he gets the appointment. But great testimonial for this group.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Chair, so if we put this building out to bid, he'd be interested in bidding on the building, correct?
If it's within reason, yes.
Okay.
Yes, we would bid on it.
Okay.
We would prefer the dollar deal, but we
Who else would like to address council? Thank you.